You have been set apart for the purpose of fearing the Lord. Do not lose track of who He is. He is the God that must be feared. Now, let me explain what I mean by fear. When you think about the electrical system, electricity needs to be feared. Do you agree? And it's a fear of reverence. It's a fear that simultaneously we are so grateful and thankful for electricity. Because without electricity, life gets a little complicated. What's my point? That simultaneously we respect, and this is why we create systems that take something that is lethal in a beneficial manner. Electricity is the perfect place. So this, whether you have appliances, whether you have air conditioning, whatever the case may be, if it's not regulated, you can potentially burn those. You can get electrocuted. And the point that I'm trying to make is when it comes to the fear of God, is the combination of something that is lethal and must be feared. Even the proclamation or the giving of the scriptures is one of the ways that God has chosen to reveal the lethalness of God in a beneficial way. Now, in the electrical system, you have a positive, you have a negative, and you have a ground. And the ground is precisely that regulates. So I'm going to argue that for us, the ground, when it comes to our ability to receive God and to perceive Him within the fear of the Lord is precisely what faith is. Faith is the ability to really look at God and say, you are beyond my understanding, you are unsearchable, you are uncontainable, but what you have chosen to reveal of yourself is enough for me to put my trust in you. So when it comes to the Bible is a revelation of God, but ultimately the revelation of God is Jesus. So when I look at the person of Jesus, is the invitation that once again, that Jesus reveals who He is and is the God to be feared. And by the way, let me give you the end of the movie. Because the end of the movie, the whole narrative is that just like electricity, that is to be feared and is lethal, 2,000 years ago, Jesus absorbed the lethalness of God. He was, quote unquote, electrocuted by the holiness and the righteousness of God, by the wrath of God. Why am I saying this? Because the one who knew no sin, we read in chapter 5 of the same book, chapter 5, verses 20 and 21, the one who knew no sin for our sake became sin. And the moment that Jesus becomes sin, He places Himself on a Roman cross, and the death of Jesus is nothing else but Him becoming Jesus becoming the recipient of that lethalness of God. So since God has placed His vengeance, His justice, His wrath in Jesus, and eventually, because the wages of sin is death, Jesus dies because of His perfect life of 33 years, born out of a virgin, and then a perfect life with no sin. When He dies, the perfection of His life guaranteed that He was going to come out of the graveside. So on Sunday morning, when He comes out of the graveside, He comes and now provides to the church the beneficial component of God. So now when we call upon the Lord, guess what? He's available. For those who put their trust in Him, now He becomes beneficial. And the reason why God is available is because when Jesus, I'm going to say it again, when Jesus was before the presence of God, and He was in the time of agony and the time of need, and He called upon the name of the Lord said, no, you get to die. You get to sacrifice your life for those who I'm calling into salvation.